Do you think cloud computing is for you? Are you currently at a point where you're wondering if you should invest the necessary time and attention to get yourself started in a career in cloud computing and DevOps? You want to watch this video to the end, as I'll be sharing with you who can learn cloud computing this year, and of course how and some practical steps which you can use to get yourself started. If this is your first time coming across my channel, I'm Devops with Mike, and I share a lot of content related to cloud computing, how to get yourself started in the DevOps and cloud computing space, how to equally prepare rightly for your interview, and of course how to get yourself the right job with respect to DevOps and cloud computing. Now, what are some key things which you must take note of as far as cloud computing industry as a whole is concerned before deciding if you can actually be a good fit or not? The very first thing which I want to highlight is the fact that there is still a very explosive growth of the cloud industry. There's still a very explosive growth of the cloud industry. What does this mean? A lot of companies, a lot of products, a lot of services are still being released that are cloud dependent. You see, artificial intelligence, that is talk of the century, has a lot of its underlying foundational services being built on cloud platforms like Microsoft Azure, like Amazon Web Service, like Google Cloud, and other services, Internet of Things services, delivery services, machine learning services, data science services. Most of these services leverage cloud platforms for their underlying infrastructure. And because these services need these cloud platforms, there is still a very vast demand for experts who can provision these services on the given cloud platforms. Hence, we have different job roles with respect to these cloud platforms. Job roles like cloud engineer, DevOps engineer, security engineer, site reliability engineer, and a lot more. So the first thing which I want to highlight is the fact that there is still a very vast demand, because there are a lot of companies, a lot of services, and a lot of products that are being released that are still cloud dependent. Now, the second thing which I'll highlight is cloud computing as a whole. The skill, cloud computing skill, DevOps, development operations, the skill as a whole is very accessible to people with known IT backgrounds. The belief which a lot of people have is if you don't have an IT background, you will not probably make it in the DevOps or cloud space, but that is just a myth. I've trained a whole lot of people who came with literally no IT experience before, and over a 6 months to a 1 year bootcamp which we offer, they've been able to acquire and harness the right skill set needed to pursue a career in cloud computing. So do not be discouraged thinking that because you're not from an IT background, you cannot get yourself started with cloud computing this year. Cloud computing is very accessible because these cloud platforms, by the way, are not taught as university courses. If you go through a degree in computer science or a degree in electrical engineering, whatever the case might be, there's no explicit course that teaches you how to provision resources on Amazon Web Service, on Microsoft Azure, or on Google Cloud. These are industry-led tools or industry-specific tools. So you must be in the industry for you to learn these tools. And if you are someone who is enthusiastic, passionate about learning, and disciplined in learning, you should consider starting a career in this, even if you have no IT background, because the skill is actually accessible for those with no IT background. And the third thing is the cloud field is expanding into many new roles. If you go to job search platforms like LinkedIn and you type cloud engineer or cloud roles in your location, you will see that there are many roles which you can occupy with respect to a given cloud platform. I always recommend people getting themselves started with Amazon Web Service as a cloud platform, because Amazon has a vast majority of resources, a very extensive documentation which you can use to understand all the 200 plus services which it has, and of course new technologies that are still coming like quantum computing, like robotics, satellite communications. Amazon is already innovating in those spaces. So if you see developments that are still going to get into some of those spaces, Amazon is already provisioning the resources that can help experts or that can help companies leverage services around those technologies. So if you're wondering what platform to even get yourself started with, you can use Amazon Web Service as a starting point. Extensive documentation, extensive communities. There are a lot of Amazon communities. There are a lot of videos on Amazon Web Service. In fact, my channel has a whole lot of videos on Amazon Web Service. So there are a lot of cloud roles which you can possibly occupy with the right skill set if you can get yourself fully trained with respect to cloud computing this year. Now, what are some practical steps which you can use to get yourself started? If you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, share this video, like this video, hit the notification bell so in case you want to get yourself updated with new videos, similar content. And by the way, there's a lot of information which I'm leaving in my channel description, so follow the link in my channel description to get more insights on how you can get yourself better in your DevOps and cloud journey this year. Now, what are the practical steps which you can use to get yourself started with DevOps and cloud computing? My number one tip which I recommend for someone who has literally no IT background is you should get yourself enrolled into an academy. Get yourself enrolled into an academy or into a boot camp that offers an end-to-end extensive DevOps training. This is the thing. A lot of people believe that they can self-study, and they've bought so many courses on different platforms like Udemy, like Coursera. They've gone through several videos, but the truth of the matter is you cannot easily, I'm not saying you cannot do it, but you cannot easily study cloud computing if you have zero IT experience alone. You cannot do it self-taught. It's best you go through an academy with tutors, experienced tutors, industry-led tutors that will walk you through these services, beginning from foundational services to most advanced services related to the entire end-to-end development life cycle. So my first tip for you is, if you have no experience, get yourself enrolled into a bootcamp that will get you all the skills needed to thrive in the cloud industry. Now, the second tip which I'll recommend for you is to do a lot of practical projects. Enrolling into an academy without doing practical projects is just shooting yourself on the leg, because no matter how much you pay, no matter how many courses you buy with respect to cloud computing and DevOps, if you do not have the practical skills, you will not be job ready, which is what most companies need. So I recommend, after detailedly going through an end-to-end bootcamp or going through a DevOps training program, I recommend you doing a lot of hands-on project. For every service you're being taught, make sure you have a lot of hands-on experience, because that is hands-on experience which recruiters are looking out for when they are searching for talent with respect to these skills. So enroll in an academy, get yourself enough hands-on projects, and the third tip is being a community that can enable you to learn adequately. Now, you cannot underestimate the power of a community. When you're in a community where you're being inspired to learn, one of the key things you always have is the fact that you can have one or two people you can share thought processes with. You can have mentors that you can easily kind of ask questions with respect to things you don't have understanding on. You can easily collaborate with your peers that have a similar vision to understanding this cloud technology. So these are some 3 tips which I believe if you can put in practice. First, you should be enrolled in an academy, an end-to-end DevOps academy. Second, you should do a lot of hands-on practical projects. And third, be in a community that has a lot of growth going on, having mentors and all the like. Now, if you want me to recommend you academies which you can get yourself started with, you should leave a comment in the comment section, and I'll recommend the best academies. Of course, I actually have an academy where I tutor, but I'll recommend the best academy based on your location. And once again, if you're not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, do well to hit the subscribe button, like this video, and well, see you in my next video.